I wanted to share with you some of my favorite books for vegetable, edible, kitchen gardening. Hands down, this is best book for vegetable gardening. And this is How to Grow More Vegetables by John Jevons. John Jevons, he has a farm in, Willits, California. He's all about bio-intensive gardening, which is basically maximizing your space in a way that works well with each other to produce a high yield of crops. And he's all about closed system gardening and farming so that there's less inputs from the outside. This is really hardcore, but it's explained in a very easy to understand, straightforward way. And it really goes step by step from the moment you create your veg bed. Talks about creating raised beds, talks about composting, talks about all the different crops, and it even has very useful charts. Lots of useful charts. So let's see, right here, something like this. Planting strategies. I know this looks a little hardcore, but if you wanted to get geeky into it, there's enough information in this book to do so. But if you're a beginner, it's way easy to understand to get started and be successful in the garden. Excellent book. I have another book that I really like about permaculture, but I don't have it with me right now. That one is called Gaia's Garden by Toby Hemingway. It's systematic design for permaculture applied on a small scale. So definitely check out that book as well. Okay, if you're growing a vegetable garden or you're growing some edible perennials, you may want to consider doing some companion planting. And I really like this book, guys. Great Garden Companions by Sally Jean Cunningham. I even like how it's formatted. It's like so easy to read. I mean, this is so easy. It's got some illustrations, some highlights. It goes through all these different plants that can be used as companion plants, even things that are not edible. You know, some of these flowers are good to attract pollinators, and pollinators will help pollinate your vegetables and your fruit trees so that you get a higher yield of food. Some of these companion plants are about pest management as well. So I like referring to this book. It's all about polyculture and matching up the right types of crops together to mutually benefit each other. This book is heavy. It's beautiful. It's really inspirational. This is Edible Landscaping by Rosalind Creasy. You guys may know her. She's pretty famous. She actually lives in the Bay Area in Los Altos. She transformed her property into an edible landscape decades ago when no one else was doing it. She is a pioneer of edible landscaping, and she has a mix of annuals, perennials, fruit trees. She even has a chicken coop. She mixes it in with traditional plants that are ornamentally used. So she'll have like boxwood hedges and roses. I mean, look at this. Is that not beautiful? But a lot of these plants are edible. She talks about her experience transforming her garden. When she first purchased the property, she pretty much demoed everything. It was a blank slate. And then she started building out spaces and building some structures and started installing some of the foundation plants and then bringing in some of the smaller perennial and annual edibles. It's just so inspirational. So this is a landscape design book, but towards the end, she has a really great index of both ornamental and edible plants. A lot of information on how to care for and varieties that she recommends for the Bay Area.
And that's the thing. When you're looking for a gardening book, you definitely want to look for a book where the writer is coming from your region. They're going to give you advice on what works for where you live. Look out for the books that are from California in the Bay Area.
And she's from Los Altos. That's right here. This will definitely help the Bay Area gardener if you are interested in edible landscaping. Oh my gosh, I love this book so much. This is great. This flips the script. Most folks, myself included, we live on a lot that's smaller. You know, if we're lucky, we have a garden, and I live on a typical lot that's about 5,000 square feet. I'm greedy. I really want to grow as much food and as many ornamental, beautiful plants as possible. But obviously there's not enough space, right? And I want to grow a lot of fruit so that I can harvest from May until November. Fruit trees take up a lot of space, and a lot of fruit trees require cross-pollination. So you need at least 2 or 3 to actually properly pollinate each other. So this is really cool. This is about growing fruit trees in your home garden, but growing it in a way that makes sense, that's at scale to your property. growing fruit trees so that you can actually maintain them easily and harvest them easily. When you follow this process, you end up growing trees that are anywhere from 5 to 10 feet tall and no more than that. As long as you maintain them and prune them regularly, you can grow a small little orchard in your front yard or your backyard and get tons of fruit. So this is by Anne Rolfe. This is great. I love this. I love this. And she is from the Bay Area too. I think she's from Berkeley. She goes through the varieties of fruits that are appropriate for our area. Final book. Latin for Gardeners by Lorraine Harrison. Over 3,000 plant names explained and explored. I know this seems a little not related, but it is related, guys. A lot of botanical names are derived from Latin words. If you understand the origin of that Latin word, what it means, you can understand the plant a little more. So if you go through here, you can look up very common Latin botanical names. Sorry, I know you can't really see this, right? And what they mean. For instance, officinalis means of culinary value. If you see anything that has officinalis on it, like Salvia officinalis, that's a culinary sage. Rosmarinus officinalis, that's a culinary rosemary. Tomentosum, it's fuzzy or hairy. If you see a plant name with tomentosum, that probably means that it's a fuzzy version of that plant. Or the word plicotilus. Plicotilus means pleated, like aloe plicotilus, the fan aloe that looks really unique and unusual. Also pleniflorus, that means double, probably double petaled, like Philadelphus alba plena or something like that. That will probably indicate that it's a double petaled white Philadelphus. It shows all these stories too, you know? I just love this book. Anyway, I mean, this is just me. I'm really into this stuff. Like, I love learning about plants. It's a good way to learn about the stories of plants and the meanings of their botanical names. And once you get a hang of it, when you go out to the nurseries and you start reading plant names, you immediately know some of their characteristics just based off of their Latin derivations.